I say that this is the most powerful thing that exists. You know, I say it in another way. The sublime image is the most powerful thing that exists. It is indeed the seat of all. Nothing is more powerful than that upon which every woman sits. That is indeed the seat of power. And it sounds like a joke, but you marry a woman because she has one of those. If she didn't have it, you will marry her. You know, she could be the most beautiful, the most, you know, if she doesn't have that, you know, you will marry her. So why is it that religions have so much thing against it? So I started studying it. And it's because religions need people that they can indoctrinate from the beginning to go and fight wars or to do these certain things and dress like that and don't do this, don't do that, don't, you know, everything is don't. And then the only way to do that is by indoctrinating children since they are born. I can tell you in New York City, I know exactly who hates me by the way they dress. It's that simple. I'm not going to tell you who that is, but I know that when I get in touch with one of them, that person wants to bury her in front of me. They don't want me to marry their daughters. They don't want me to live in their neighborhood. They don't want me to do this. They don't want me to do, you know. So, and heaven forbid I say something against them. So I say, wow, I am a prisoner, and I just want to talk to people. And now with the invention of the smartphone, I don't have anybody else to talk to. Because everybody's connected to their self with these things, or somebody, you know, and they don't read books anymore. I mean, you know, and one of the things that I am so happy that I met you and that we are doing this is because it seems to me as I found finally somebody who can help me, because since I don't know anything about computers, I cannot communicate anymore because everything is send me an email, send me a text, send me this. And I don't even know how to turn that thing on and off, you know. All I know is give me a pencil and I'll give you my telephone number. Why do I have to go to a smartphone to give you my telephone number? Okay, you read, you know. This is my question to those people, and they get mad at me. What's wrong with you? And he said, well, hey, I know what's wrong with me, you know. I was left behind. So I became very obsolete by technology. Totally obsolete. I used to give illustrations to these galleries. To these magazines, and then they would write a story around my drawing. I just gave them pointers and did this and that, and then they would write it about it. But there was now, when they came up with the computer and all that, they all wanted these illustrations in a GP something, you know. They have to have certain size, and you know, and everything was with my fingers, and I can draw you a complete circle, but I cannot do it with a compass. I don't know, call me dyslexic, I guess that's what it is, but that's the story of me. And I want people, which is an impossibility, to go back and appreciate what is around, like this botanical garden. You go around, smell the flowers, and look at something, you know, like when I picked up that little leaf, it reminded me of my girlfriend and the things we used to do, you know. It sent me back. The little flower, from that, I didn't pick it up from it because I wouldn't do that. I found it dead underneath it. So I picked it up and I did that, and all of a sudden, and now that you ask me these things, I am trying to remember. I love it. Once I told my father when I was here that I wouldn't marry a woman from the United States because there were no virgins. I was in Venezuela. They think that women have to be married. If they had more than 2 boyfriends, she was already damaged goods. So I when I came over here, you could date any woman, you know, even blind dates, you know, and I couldn't figure that out. And I would go out with this girl and we would kiss and touch and do all kinds of things. And then I said, okay, I'll see you next week, you know. I said, no, next week I gotta go with Larry someplace. So I said, what do you mean? This doesn't mean anything. And so I told my father that I wasn't going to marry a American woman because of their promiscuity. And my father wrote this beautiful letter back, and he said, the virtue of a woman does not reside between her legs. Get rid of that idea as fast as you can. Not beautiful? And that all of a sudden put myself into thinking how special that part that women have between their legs is. And I cannot understand, or I do understand, why there is a law that you cannot show that picture of one of them in a cover of a magazine or in a book. And you can put dead people without heads and, you know, all kinds of horrible things, but you cannot put. Now, let's see if I can explain myself perfectly, or as perfect as I can. Suppose there was a law that said that a person cannot draw a perfect circle, because if he is found or she is found of doing so, they would be severely punished. And this is and they would be severely punished. And this is not just in the United States, this is universal. So, I said, the men who invented the brick, we didn't suffer at all because it's all square, you know, lines. Or the pyramids, or the swastika, or the cross. Of all these different things that is just angles. He could put it any place he wanted, regardless of what he meant to say with that. But the guy who made the circle couldn't talk to anybody. And my question to the whole world through you is, where would we be without the wheel? That is the question. The guy who invented the wheel, or came up with the idea of the wheel, he would be severely punished because there is a law that said you cannot make a circle of it. So I put those two things, those thoughts together. I came out, where would we be with this? That's, you know, and men throw kingdoms away, you know, like Cleopatra, Mark Antony, and then you have all the histories, well, you know, the Helen of Troy.
Rene, a circle is not a vagina by any stretch.
It's not a vagina, but it means a lot. The meaning behind it.
And a circle is not part of anatomy.
But every movement that you make in your body describes a circle. Every one of them. Like this. As anything that you move in your body, this describes a circle. And to me, the circle is the perfect thing. Philosophically, you cannot close a circle without going backwards. You know, the earth is a circle. You go around the sun in a circle. You know, everything is circles. But when you come to procreate, yeah, of course, you cannot open a circle on a rock. But it is something that exists in nature, and God had nothing to do with it. He didn't create it. And when I put it in a cross, and I went in front of St. Patrick's Cathedral with this pornographer called Al Goldstein. They arrested me, and I had to go to court, and I had to defend myself. And when I went in front of the judge, they asked me, why did I do such a thing, of putting a vulva in the middle of the cross? And they thought that I had eaten some bad cheese or something, Anyway, so I just decided to explain to him, the vagina was created by God, if you really want to believe that there is a God. And the cross was created to give life to his son, Jesus. Because we don't know how Jesus went inside of Mary, because she was a virgin, and but that's another story. But he did come out through that channel. So it is the creation of God to give life to his son, with the creation of men to kill him. And now it was a woman, Beverly Cohn was her name. I don't know if we can say that, but and I said, now ask yourself, which one of the two is more sacred? The one created by men to life to Jesus, or the one created by, the one created by God to give life to Jesus, or the one created by man to kill Jesus?
The one created by God through Mary, through the channel, to create Jesus.
Okay, yes.
This is what we were talking about. It was the
she was
sublime image.
Yes, she was the sublime image. Yeah. That was the And those people who know my my work, and I have presented in so many different ways, they every time that they see a crack on a wall, or an orange that that you open up, or any seed, they will say, "Oh wow, that looks like a Rene," because I do so many different ways of sculptures, and So I even found it in the symbol for the botanical garden, and I couldn't think of better symbol than that. So this is where my mind is, and everybody tells me, wait a minute, is that all you think about? What else is around? Flowers, sky, grass, everything. It's just around. It gets me. And why exclude one? The one that gave me life, my mother. I had to exclude her. And all of a sudden, I rejected to go, and I became a renegade. And everybody that adheres to my way of thinking is automatically called a renegade. Because a renegade is a person who reneges to all the dogmas that have been created through history, and all the beliefs and all these different things. I will go down with the ship, my own way of thinking. So, there's the Renaissance. What was the Renaissance? A movement that gave the right to artists to express themselves without having to go to the Pope or having to go to any place, And it was a liberation of art. But in today, art is under the asphyxiating fist of religion. And you cannot say certain things, you cannot paint certain things, and if you can paint them, you cannot talk about it, or you can publish, or you cannot show it. But they love it. They cannot escape it. And everybody thinks that I am a pervert because that's all I see. Well, yeah. What else is there to see as far as I'm concerned? And
are there other things to see?
Yes. There are millions. And things that you cannot see that keep you alive, such as air, oxygen, and all these different things, It is an amazing and arduous thing that I have been trying to do, and I call myself nature's ambassador because I want to give this message to people that there is nothing wrong with our naked body, both male and female. It's nothing wrong by falling in love with that person or not that person or everything. There's nothing wrong with being born left or right-handed. There was a time when I was a little kid that if you were left-handed, they forced you to write with your right hand because you were weird. I don't know. Leonardo was.
So let me ask you a question. If life is the product of the union of the vagina and the penis, why don't you draw or sculpt more penises?
Because I already have enough trouble drawing vaginas.
What do you mean?
And they are not attract me as much.